Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Today, we are speaking with Geni Cor. Geni is the founder of BRANDEX CO, and she helps B2B CEOs, tech founders, and sales teams to build profitable personal brands on LinkedIn so they can start monetizing their audience and attract ideal clients consistently and authentically. I love that. Geni, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
Well, folks, today we're going to be speaking about a topic that I've brought up before, but today from a different angle. And it is about creating a brand that shines. And so, if you're interested in making sure that your brand is where it needs to be, this is the episode for you. But, Geni, before we get into all of that, tell us a little bit about you.
Of course. So I've basically been on the personal brand LinkedIn space since 2015, 2016, but I didn't use it for my own business until 2019. And from that moment to now, it changed a bit, like who I serve and how I do things. But I owe my full-time entrepreneur nomad life, whatever you want to call it, to my personal brand and especially LinkedIn.
And so, LinkedIn is probably one of the platforms that most people go to ensure that they are positioning themselves in a way that either they get a career or they get business, and it's typically around business or career. So when we're talking about personal brands, I want to bring up this specific topic about positioning because it is very important and vital to understand how you are being portrayed in the public, right? That's not just a common day thing, but this is specifically around branding. So what role does positioning have in branding?
I think it's huge. And also like I think it's first important to talk about the your identity and self-concept and like how you perceive yourself because based on that you're going to position yourself in a way on social media. And LinkedIn has a very, very big thing with positioning. Because if you, let's say, are selling a 10,000 service, 20,000 service, whatever it is, if they perceive you as a low value or like that you're selling low ticket, that means it's something in your positioning, your message is off. So every time with my clients and with my community, I always tell them like positioning is the very first step towards having consistent and high quality clients on LinkedIn. If you want to be perceived as someone that's premium, so you get the paid premium, then you need to position yourself as in like this is what I do. It needs to be really, really clear what you do, what's the outcome, and who you serve. And then also coming from a place of empowerment, because if you're looking to get clients or like we'll pay you 10,000, let's say, um, you cannot position yourself as someone that, oh, like I screwed up, but like now I'm doing better, because then you will just attract people that are not coming from a place of power and from a place of, yeah, like coming at 5K months or 10,000, 20,000, I want to use LinkedIn, you will attract this type of clients rather than if your positioning is kind of like it's not clear. It needs to be crystal clear. Like they need to go onto your profile, do a very vertical like quick read of your profile and be like, yeah, that person can help me. I feel like positioning is a huge, huge thing that a lot of people are struggling with.
And folks are looking for people
Yes.
who can help them, right? And
Yeah.
that specific act in looking for somebody, and if you don't position yourself to attract, now you want to be careful because you can attract the wrong clientele, which ends up being headaches later down the road. But positioning does put you in that spot to attract the right client at the right price band for a lucrative and beneficial interchange, right, between both. And so not only are they looking for you, but you're also looking for them. And that's one thing that a lot of people forget. It's not
Mhm.
just bringing in the client. Are you happy with that client?
Mhm. Yes. It's not about like it's not about quantity, but it's about quality. And I actually, since I changed my positioning 2 weeks ago, I think like collected like 12, almost 13,000 in new revenue in like a week, just because of this change of positioning. It's like little tricks that you do in your message and how you position yourself, not the service. And then people are gonna be like, yeah, well, whatever it takes, I'm just like gonna work with you. And what you said, like they're always looking. Like the highest or like the biggest contracts that I've ever signed were with people that were like, I've been following you for 6 months, never engaged, never commented on anything. One day they just drop in your DMs, then you jump on a call, and next thing you know, it's like you're signing like a 35K contract from someone you've never spoken with, which is crazy to me. But they're always looking. Yeah.
The lurkers in the dark. Sometimes they're bad, but sometimes they're good, right? So
Yeah.
it depends on what they come with. You mentioned the positioning. So you just took a chance and said, hey, let me tweak this and let me tweak that. A lot of times that comes through storytelling. And
Mm,
most of us that endeavor to do video, storytelling is a big thing as we're portraying what we can do or what we can influence. So, why
mm.
is storytelling so important in the LinkedIn community, but most importantly for business?
I feel like people, when it comes to storytelling, they go wrong in one part, is that they just don't make the audience part of their journey and part of their process. For me, what I feel like works the best, and it never fails, is that you just have to, there's something or someone in your audience that person's actually struggling with the one pain, the very, very, very big pain that you were struggling with. Because it's always one big pain, the one that triggers them to buy. So what I do with storytelling is I always go from hell to heaven, right? So you're in hell, now you're in heaven, but that the in between is like a very, very big pain that they have, linked with a very big desire. So whenever I do storytelling posts on LinkedIn, which probably is like 3 times per week, which that's what I recommend, is I was at the very, very low. So the pain was really excruciating. Like, for example, I wasn't able to sign high ticket clients for LinkedIn. I was having calls, but no one was converting. Or if they were converting, they were just very low ticket. And then I just walk the person through that process, but I make it really like vivid, as in like I was waking up every single day with an anxiety attack because I was doing this, or then I was like, I was just starting working. I had no idea what I was gonna do. I just knew that I was gonna assign high ticket client. Then in that transition from that hell to heaven, it's like, okay, so how does it feel exactly when you're like getting these clients? How does it feel to just open your inbox and be like, yeah, I want to work with you. So the choice is yours if you want to work with them or not. And then how does that impact your life and your personal life? Like if you have kids, if you have a partner, if you have family, the like taking your parents out for a holiday, like I don't know, whatever that is. So I make it very, very, very clear on the big, big pain. So that's their hell. And then the big, big picture, which is their heaven. Because a lot of the times, and also with storytelling, they just don't see the big picture. So you need to show them the big picture. But in order for them to be triggered to buy and to buy in that story first, you need to really trigger them on the pain side of things. So that's how I approach storytelling, always making them a witness of the process.
Yeah, and that's so effective, and I use it myself when I'm entreating a conversation about leadership. I always try to put that person in a position where they can see, right?
Mm,
And so, for
yeah.
instance, well, what when I speak to leaders, I said, I want you to envision the last leader that you wish you never had.
Mm, hmm.
And they can immediately put
Mm.
themselves in that place and see that person, right? And then we'll start having a conversation about how you can kind of work around and build strategies to never to never be under that leadership again. So storytelling truly is powerful and a way of putting somebody in a place where they can consider, hey, yeah, I could see the roadmap here. I could see. That's where I want to be. And that's so powerful.
It just opens up their alive and yeah.
It's really what you want to do. Most people that have these pain points and have these obstacles just can't see past them. And so if you can do that, guess who's signing the contract?
Yes.
As I'm going through, and so now I'm saying, okay, storytelling is a big thing, but branding, it really requires you to consider a roadmap, a sense of strategy, because if there's anything that you want to get to, it will require some steps. So, what should I consider in my strategy roadmap when it comes to branding?
Yeah, that's a really great question. For me, what I think, or what I find that works the best is what are my three core values or my three core pillars of, let's say, the way I like to approach this is I work a lot with coaches and consultants, right? So the way I approach this is like, what are your three pillars of your core offer? Like if you're doing consulting, what are your three pillars of your core offer? Like for me is content, high ticket offers, or authentic selling authentically, and creating offers that actually would sell. So those are my three pillars. So whenever I do, like, I should adjust my personal brand and my content and how I want to position myself, I always make sure that I remain um authentic to my core values and my three core pillars in business. And I just start building the foundation from there. And I just make sure that every single piece of content is reflecting that. At the same time, I also talk about values that I just don't agree with, or like it's like a negative thing that also triggers them to take a look into what you have to offer. So, for example, if I'm saying like I'm very ethical and moral on my values, I also talk about another scenario that I went through years ago in business and why that core value is not like with me anymore with my business. So that way, the audience has a way of like a contrast. And so, because a lot of the times, the reason why I do it like that is because of the times people don't know what they want, but they know what they don't want. And the thing with personal brand and positioning is that we're not going to give them, we're going to give them what they want. So once they are on the phone with us, we're going to give them what they need, because usually what they want and what they need, it's like very, very different. But because they don't know what they need, they will never be triggered to even inquire. So you're going to give them what you want, what they want to hear. But when they jump on the phone with you, it's like, okay, let's get real here.
Yeah, I love that reality check because it is true. Most people, they know what they want, and it's totally different from what they need. And
Mm-hmm.
for having somebody to be able to help them navigate that water, it's so critical. Now, you mentioned high ticket clients, right? And everybody wants the most for their services. And sometimes those clients really escape us because we don't know how to do the things that we've just been talking about. And there's a way of optimizing all of those things in order to position yourself as we're talking branding position. So, what can I do to optimize for those high ticket clients? Because there is something that's specific to those.
For me, it really boils down to, I think it's called walk the talk, talk the walk, as in like what you do, that's what you show. Um, don't try to be something or someone that you're not, because whenever you sign the client, which you will, they'll realize like, Yeah, that's actually like she has no idea, right? So a big thing on that is um whenever I do an experiment with my own business, I always make sure I write about it, or I do like a, I don't know, like a video, and I talked about this, how I tweak this to, for example, have like 13K in sales in a week. I always show like on LinkedIn things that I've already done and experimented with, because I cannot say to someone, I'll help you scale to 50K a month if I'm not there yet myself. And a lot of things also, like a lot of a big thing with high ticket is having the courage to actually charge high ticket. Because a lot of people's like, oh yeah, like my service is worth a lot, but then they either overprice and then the value is not there, or they tend to, okay, I have the potential client now on my calendar, I'm gonna jump on a call, and then I am going to adapt my price to what I think they can afford, instead of like what my price is worth, and then them adapting to working with that price. That's another big thing, because then that means that there is like an incongruence between how you're showing up, your positioning, with what happens behind the scenes. So every time I've only sold high ticket, I've never done low ticket, but like the difference between someone that can sell 50K or 10K is just like having the courage and the morals to be like, yeah, like I've done this, so I know I can help you get to that point, and not negotiating your price down just because, or adapting your price to what you think your prospect can afford, because a lot of times they will just make it work if that's what they really want. Another thing with that is being crystal clear on some of the outcomes that they will get if they work with you, and what are the things that you really help them with. So again, this goes back to the three pillars that you have, because then they will just like unqualify themselves automatically. So you don't have to do that work.
So it's not just having pillars, it's being able to live those pillars, right? And so you
Yeah.
don't, and I mentioned you when I was presenting you about the authenticity behind a brand. And folks, you can want to make something, right? Everybody has a goal. But if you cannot back up what you say, you might as well forget it in the long run, because that stuff will catch up to you. So be authentic to yourself and authentic to your pillars, but also consider what you can and cannot provide, because that will speak for itself. The last thing you want is for your brand to be so big, but then when it's time to put up the effort, it's the substance not there, right? So be adequate in your assessment of yourself. Don't shortchange yourself now, because you made a good point. There's a lot of people, including myself at times, that will price based on assumptions. That's
Mm.
probably the worst thing to do. Price based on your product capability, what you can produce, and the content behind that. And that's why you should be priced. It's a great addition to that question. Now, we're talking about getting to the point where your brand is solid, you're walking that talk, and you have everything in place. There's still the question about converting a client from a conversation to an actual signed contract, and the funds are being transferred. So what can I do to convert on my influence? Because there's a lot of people producing a lot of influential content. A video is huge, and there's a lot of folks following. I believe I was at 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Considering the rest of folks that I'm connected with, that's a huge following. Although I'll tell you that LinkedIn dropped me about 1,000 people overnight. I don't know how that happened, but
Oh my
they
gosh.
did. 1,000 people vanished. And I said, okay, well, still, let's say 19. um,
Mhm.
that's a huge conglomerate of people and for one person. How can I convert on that?
I don't think followers equal growth on your bank account because I am like I'm really small compared to other people. Like I have like 12,000 followers. Some weeks my engagement is totally down as like 50, 30 likes or 100 likes. I don't go past that. But man, do I convert? Yes. Because the thing is, like, I also work with a lot of people, like with 60,000 followers. I'm like, how do I convert these people? And we're talking about people that also have like 600 likes on their content. It's like, damn, if I would have that much volume, like, oh my gosh, like, would be really great, right? So a lot of people are really good at at putting like eyes on them, but then when it comes to conversions, they just have no idea. I also want to make clear that not having like a lot of followers doesn't mean you're not going to convert them. Because like my first $7,000 on LinkedIn were when I had like 500 followers. So it's I had nothing to show up for, or so I thought. So the thing with converting is you have to be really intentional, and I always do this analogy about a GPS. You can use the GPS, but then if you're not getting to your destination, it like what's the utility of utilizing it if you're just not getting to that destination? You use it because you will follow the instructions. The GPS will lead you so you get to that destination. Same happens with conversions. Like whenever someone visits my profile, hey, what made you drop by? Is there anything about me or what I do that could have your eye? And that opener, I call them soft openers, it opens a door for them to like, oh, I actually need help with optimizing an offer. I want to create a high ticket offer. So then you just go through a conversation, like, okay, like, yeah, I can help you with that. Let's jump on a call. The thing with conversions and what I'm seeing is that a lot of people, they just want inbound leads, which they're nice, they come, but they just like want to sit there and not even open up conversations and wait for those inbound leads to come. It's not the strategy that I'm following, even though I have a lot of inbound leads now. But those inbound leads, if you don't take them to and convert them into a call, they will never convert. So it's not converting them to a sale, it's converting them to a conversation, either jumping on a call or on the DMs and acting like as a GPS because you know the destination. So the change is like, let's see if I can help you and let's book a call. But when we're not leading the conversation and the conversions, and also we just whenever we create content or post something without a conversion strategy in place, without a sales strategy in place, it's just not going to work. And that's why a lot of people that have a lot of followers are not converting. And also because they don't ask for the sell. Like I always say this, in order for you to convert, you need to promote yourself. You need to do it from a place again of being aligned with what you offer, with what you sell, being really authentic, and then just like promote everything that you have to offer. Why would you not promote it? Like that's the thing. There's also a lot of shame around doing sales, like promoting yourself and doing conversions. So I feel like a lot of people shy away from it, but it has no impact on if you have more followers because you need to convert them and you need to lead them to the final destination, whatever that is.
And I brought that up because for the point that you just made. Folks, you could have 1 million followers. If you never open one of those doors, that's just all you get, right? So followers does not equal influence. It just means that you attracted somebody in one way or shape or form by your content. If there is no one knocking on your door, and if you're not there to open it, you might as well just say, "Give me 0 followers," right? Because that's what it equates. And So I just wanted to make sure that people understood that there's not a direct correlation between followers and you being
Mhm.
able to do anything with that, because sometimes I wish I only had 100 followers. My stream of messages will be just the people that I are actually doing something with or I'm doing something for, because sometimes uh, that interchange is not always inbound. Sometimes it's outbound, and you have to understand that there's a relationship there. And it's so funny how people believe that the more folks they have following, the more prominent and the more effective they'll be. But if you don't have all the four prior things that we talked about here, right?
Yeah.
No strategy, no way of being able to convert, no foundation, and all the things that we covered, you might as well forget it. So I tell you, we could talk about branding and how to position yourself in a way. And I saw that you was out there in the UK with a lot of
Oh,
friends
yeah.
that familiar faces that I know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, what do you have coming up? How can people reach out to you to become one of those, clients, or they can learn from you and your videos and all the things that you do on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Actually, that event in the UK was from my first LinkedIn coach. So back then I had no idea. I was already making money out of LinkedIn. It's just I had no idea how to do the whole content thing. So that was like 3 years ago. So we come a long way. Um, so if people want to reach out to me and work with me either on one of my masterminds or one on one, they can do so on LinkedIn. Again, like if you don't knock on the door is not going to open. So yeah, and I work mainly with coaches and consultants now. And I help them with everything, offer positioning, high ticket sales, alignment, authenticity when it comes to selling and showing up, and the whole personal brand ecosystem we've been talking about. So that's how can they reach out to me.
All right, folks. So we're going to have that as part of the show notes and video so you can get a hold of Geni. She is on LinkedIn. Check that account out. Check the videos. Check the posts that that creates and releases. Very informative. She knows what she's doing. So I suggest that you go there right now. For all those listening, I just want to remind everyone that today's episode is sponsored by Fantail Services and Superpass, which are powering our website and app, Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee, and Harchester, London. You got to check them out, Geni. If you've
I
enjoyed
will.
this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, make sure to subscribe and let us know by leaving a comment right now. And we're always looking for new ideas and guests that can add to our show. So if you know someone or you have a topic that you would like featured on the podcast, or you want to sponsor the show, we'd love to hear about it by emailing us at triadleadershipsolutions@gmail.com. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. And as we like to end the show, success to you.